question, to be honest, and let me address that for a second. I think that if I was in a situation where I had to join some type of movement like this and feel so passionately, I would. If I was in India in the 1940s, I would go to jail like everyone else was. If I was African American in the 1950s and 60s, I would do sit-ins and different things like that.
Yeah.
I have lived such a privileged lifestyle here in Northern Virginia and things like that. Everything handed to me so easily that, no, right now I wouldn't do that. But I'm sure if I was in as tough of a situation as they were, I don't know if I would take that step, but I would take bold moves.
I mean, these were kids who had college admission,
unbelievable,
going to school next year, and they risked it all because their faith in the American government and the system that it'll all work out and that they will become naturalized citizens. That's what drove them to do this, and I really admire that.
Unbelievable. And I just want to emphasize again to our viewers that America is becoming more and more of a melting pot each year. We're going to get, by 2050, it's estimated that there's going to be more colored people than white people in America. So brown is the new white, essentially, and this issue is going to just turn into a tidal wave from a little ripple.
That's our reality 50 years from now.
Yeah.
And this issue can't be ignored.
Exactly. And little things like Arizona immigration law, cutting it off at the stem, isn't going to the roots of the problem. So we're going to have to address this shortly.
I hear that.
Let's move on to our next topic, which fascinates both of us. And I can sum it up in one word. LeBron.
Oh, man.
We all know our favorite sports athlete, star basketball player, LeBron James, recently moved to the Miami Heat. And what I think is a great move, but my partner here disagrees. Neil, let's get your thoughts.
Well, I want to start with his hour-long special, The Decision, which aired on ESPN at the end of his free agency. I thought it was disgusting, narcissistic. He wanted so much attention. It did not sit well with me.
Okay. I see your point on that. Okay. And to our viewers, I want to say The Decision is just another way, and actually the most amazing way, really, that an athlete can take his star capital and use it in just a 1-hour TV segment where the world watches. So what do you think about his decision of moving to Miami? What are your thoughts on that?
Rohan, I like Miami. I like the beaches in Miami. I like the women in Miami, but I do not like LeBron in Miami. I thought it was unfair when the whole thing was going down. It kind of takes the fun out of the game, when you team up with the good guys. But I think it's very cool how now there's a formidable team in the East. Okay. Now that we can actually see some legitimate East-West competition. I mean, Celtics aside. I think that'll be exciting to watch.
And we had the Pistons before. They had their glory days. The Celtics do represent something. And once in a while, the Hawks are like an upstart. So sometimes the East does come through. But why this was a good decision was because it was the best out of all his options to win a championship. After 7 years in Cleveland, LeBron was in a point where he had just gotten his everything he could out of one city. New York was an option, but teams-wise wasn't really. The Bulls was better than New York, but Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah weren't enough of a reason for him to go there. And so I like the Miami decision. I think he'll win a couple championships there.
I understand that he was doing what was best for him. I just wish I'd see more in him, more character in him with all the media attention that he's getting.
And all our athletes could use that, right?
Let's move on to our last topic. What is the future of Hinduism in America? Is it going to be carried on by the fresh-off-the-boat Indian immigrants who come here, or is it going to be the second-generation Indian Americans that follow in their parents' footsteps?
And this is a tough topic to tackle, me and you handling the future of Hinduism in America.
I know, right?
But we take ourselves seriously enough to debate such things. So I think that there are a lot of factors that can go into this, but one of them is how much initiative it takes to be a Hindu. And why don't you expand on that?
I see myself having a Hindu wedding. Going
regardless of the race of your bride.
This is true. I want to have pujas every year. Whatever my parents are having now, I want to have that when I'm older.
Right.
The ceremonial aspect of Hinduism is very important to me. And then I think that's the same for a lot of our Indian friends that are our age.
Definitely.
But one of the things that I've noticed is that it requires a lot of effort to be able to embrace Hinduism as an American growing up here. The language is in Sanskrit, right? So you have to be able to learn and understand Sanskrit in order to understand what you're trying to say.
Another way that it's difficult to be a Hindu is the fact that we can't perform any of the rituals that exist. But a reason why I think that's actually a boon for us is because our culture is one of the wealthiest cultures out there. We have an average salary, many Hindus have an average salary, and this is rough statistics, of over $90,000. And why that's important is because we can bring pujaris into our house. We, unlike Judaism and Christianity, they don't have the pastor come to their house. We just call up the pujari, he drives from the temple, performs the puja, and goes home. So we're at an advantage there. We don't have to know all those things all the time. It's good.
You sort of alluded to my next point with that one, which was the strength of Hinduism is actually its biggest weakness in terms of its survival in the U.S. And that is its liberalism.
Yeah,
okay?
that's right.
Anyone can become a Hindu. Anyone can practice it any way they want. You don't necessarily have to get a pujari or go to a temple. You can pray in your home on your own. It's key for success, but that'll also be the thing that we'll have to battle in terms of, like, educating our children about Hindu traditions.
Right, and that's why you mentioned Judaism earlier. Okay, now I understand, because you were trying to say that Judaism cultivates its kids in its schools.
They've done such a good job of teaching their kids about Judaism.
Very true.
And they're doing it in a second language too. Hebrew is not their first language for the Jewish kids here in America.
Correct. And I agree with you on that, and hopefully that'll push us forward. Another thing that'll push, I believe, will continue Hinduism with its strength is, of course, our population will increase. That will help us. But the cultural aspect, that is the puja and the family dinner and the get-together, it's part of our culture.
Right.
We're used to, one Sunday a month, maybe one Sunday every 2 months, going to someone's house for a puja.
I couldn't see myself ever leaving that.
Exactly. And we would miss that. So we're going to start having those events and those types of cultural get-togethers because religion and culture are so fused in India.
Excellent point, Rohan.
Thanks.
Well, that's all we have for you today.
Thanks for watching Morning Blend. We hope to see you another time soon.
It's been a blast blending with you, Rohan, and we'll see you viewers at the next episode.
Take care.